Hey there, Saki here from SAKITECH, and in today's video I will show you 25 plus tips and tricks for your iPhone XR that is surely to enhance the use of your new iPhone and get maximum user satisfaction. So let's dive in and discover immediately. Alright, just in case you're brand new to the iPhone, I'm going to show you guys some of the basics of navigation. Alright, so let's launch an application over here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to swipe up and that takes me home. Alright? And then if I want to access my recent applications, my application cards, what I do is I swipe up, pause over here and let go, and then I have access to all the actual apps that are running in the background, and then I can tap on any one to switch over to that particular app. And if I swipe up again while I'm inside an application, I can bring that card again. I can bring up the card view again if I let go, or if I just swipe up, it goes right back home. And of course, if I'm in an app, what I can do is I can actually switch between apps by swiping at the bottom of the screen over here, just like this, okay? So there's nothing on that side, but if I go over here, it's going to get me the next app. If I go one more time, it's going to get me the next app. If I go one more time, it's going to get me the next application, all right? So you can do that as well, or you can just do this to switch between applications. Fantastic. Let's move on. Now, to access your control center, you have to swipe up from the top right over here. So that's going to give you access to your control center. If you want to access your notifications and your today's screen, you're going to have to swipe from this side and come down. All right. So as you can see, if I swipe from here, from the middle, it's going to bring down the today's screen. But if I swipe from the top right, it's going to bring down my control center. And while we are in the control center, let me show you something really quickly. The iPhone XR does not have 3D touch, but what you can do is you can actually press and hold on any one of these buttons to expand their functionality. So if I press and hold on the music application of music control, it's going to expand to give me this expanded view. And from here, I have a bigger controller and also some options at the bottom here that I can modify. Okay, I can play, go to the next track, change the volume from here even, and basically everything I can do in the music application. And the same thing applies to the brightness. If you press and hold, it's going to expand it. From here, you can adjust the brightness and lower it or whatever you want to do. You can even turn on the night shift option, turn on or turn it off, and also true tone on and off. All right. And same thing with the volume. Press and hold, you got the volume slider. Camera, you press and hold, you get all these options. Take a selfie, record a video, scan a QR code, take a portrait shot, and of course you have all these other options. If you do the flashlight, it's going to allow you to turn it on and even set levels for the brightness intensity of your flashlight. Turn it off, go right back. So that's the control center. It can also be customized. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But let's go continue with the other stuff. Now, if you wanted to access Siri, you have a couple options. Now, if you go to the settings, and if you go to actual Siri, you have these options. You can listen for that phrase. So when you say, hey Siri, it's going to actually launch Siri, as you can see. Let me cancel that. Or what you can do is you can press and hold the power button, and that's going to allow you to talk directly to Siri. So if I press and hold the power button individually, Siri comes right up. All right, so we're going to go right back. The other thing is, if you want to power off your device, what you have to do is you have to press the power button and the volume down key at the same time. Because if you press and hold the power button individually, it brings up Siri. So press power, volume down, power, and it's going to give you that option where you can slide to power off. So let's cancel that also. And the next thing is, if you press volume up and power at the same time, it will take a screenshot. So let's do that so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So if you press together, boom, there's a screenshot. You get this photo at the bottom. You can tap on it to expand it. You can resize it if you want to, just like that. So I can resize the screenshot. I can write on it if I want to highlight something specific. And then you can just tap on this button and save it or whatever. I'm just going to say done. It's going to give me the option to delete it or save it. I'm going to save it. It goes to my photos. Now also, if you press and hold the button and take a screenshot, one more thing I'm going to show you guys, you can just swipe this away if you don't want to edit. So you can just swipe that away, it goes away. And of course, as you know, the camera in the iPhone XR is the same primary camera found on the iPhone XS. So it is capable of recording some amazing video. So I'm going to make sure that you guys understand all the options you can access and modify with the video recording. So when you launch the camera and you swipe over to video, By default, this one is recording at 1080p at 30 frames per second. What you want to do is you want to go to the settings over here, and then you want to go to the general settings in the main screen, and then scroll down all the way to where it says camera. And then from here, you want to modify the actual video recording option. So if you tap on this one, you can choose between different formats such as 4K. So if I do 1080p at 60 frames per second and go back to the camera, you'll see on the top it's going to say HD and 60. So that means high definition 60 frames per second. If I go back up here, tap on this one and go back into the camera, you'll see it says 4K at 24 frames per second. So just be aware of these things. If you do 4K at 60, you will see 4K at 60 on the top corner on the right. So make sure that you're aware of what quality that you're recording at. I recommend 1080p at 60 for the best quality, and also for not wasting too much storage space, because as you go higher, the storage space increases how much storage that video takes, and there's a breakdown here. For example, a 1-minute video at 4K at 60 frames per second is going to be 400 megabytes. But if you do a 1080p at 60 frames per second, it's going to be 19 megabytes. So that's almost 4 times more storage space wasted. You can do the same thing with the slow motion recording. So if I go back over here and if I swipe over, the default to the slow motion, the default is slow motion at 240 frames per second, which is what I recommend you have, but you can do this as well. Again, it's going to take less space, as you can read over here. Now if I go back over here, it says HD 120 on the top. So you are aware of the modifications that you made to your camera's recording capability. And of course, if you go back here, make sure this one is enabled. It's capable, the phone is capable of recording stereo sound in video. So make sure this is in fact enabled over here. Alrighty? Now let's go back out. I told you guys I wanted to show you how you can actually customize the control center. So what you want to do is you want to go into the control center in the general settings right over here. And then from here, tap on customize controls. And from here, you can add or remove controls from that control center. Now the ones on the top are already included, and the ones at the top are the ones you can include. So you can also remove stuff. So if I don't need the home button, I can remove it just like that. But if I want stuff, I can just add stuff. I can add Apple TV remote, the low power mode. I'm going to add the screen recording, and I'm going to add the voice memos. So now we have all these options in the actual control center. As you can see, it has grown, okay? So that's the voice memo, that's the screen recording. Now let me show you one thing really quick. If you go back here, and if you press and hold, this is the screen recording. It's going to record the screen as you use your device. So if I tap on this button here, if you tap on the start recording button, it's going to start the record. It's going to count down, and now let me show you what's happening over here. So if I go out just like that, swipe over a couple times, on the top you'll see a red icon. That means that the screen is being recorded. Then you go back here when you want to stop it. Again, press and hold and tap on stop recording. So that video gets saved into the photos. So let me go to the photos right now, show you what that looks like. So if I launch photos, it's going to be sitting at the bottom here. If I tap this guy, I can click play, and it's actually playing the same thing I just recorded. So you can do this to make tutorials or whatever you want to do. All right, it's a nice little option to have. So that's the control center. All right, so next tip, I'm going to go to the settings. I'm going to go into the actual general, go to accessibility, and I want you guys to enable this thing over here that's known as the Assistive Touch. If you tap on it, boom, you've got a software button right over here. Now when you tap on this button, it expands. You can use it to go back home. You can tap it. You can tap on device. You can actually tap on more and even take a screenshot with this software button. And again, this software button can be placed anywhere on the screen, and when it's not being used, it just kind of goes to the side and grays out. Okay, so it's very non-intrusive. It's also customizable, so you have all these up. You can bring down control center just by tapping it. But if you do go to the settings, you can actually tap on the customized top level menu. You can remove everything, and maybe you can tap over here and just choose the let's home. So now it's just a standalone home button. When you tap it, it just does one function. Same with if I tap it again, I can even do it for a screenshot. So if I go back over here, tap on this, Now it's a standalone screenshot, but if I tap it, it takes the screenshot, okay? So either you can use it for multiple functions or just one functionality. So that's it. Well, let me show you something with the Face ID. If you tap on settings, and if you go back to general settings, and if you go to actual Face ID and passcode, I'm assuming you already set this up. Let me dump in my password. There's a couple options here I want you guys to be aware of. With the Face ID, these two attention specific features. Now this one here, if it's enabled, it says, now this one says require attention for Face ID. So basically, if you actually are using the Face ID, if this option is enabled, the camera that's set up over here is going to know when you're actually looking at the device, okay? So if you're asleep, nobody can grab the phone and put it in front of your face to unlock your phone. The camera has to know that you're paying attention and you're looking at the actual camera, and that's when it unlocks the actual smartphone with your Face ID. It's just a security tactic that's very useful. Now this one is the attention aware feature. So again, if this is enabled, and if you're looking at your phone directly, it's not going to dim the display or shut off the phone. It only shuts off the phone or the display when you're looking away from it. If you're looking at it, it's going to make sure it remains turned on. Again, the Face ID system here keeps track of your eyeballs. And of course, on the top here, you have a couple options. You can set up an alternate appearance. So if you want to make it even more, if you wear sunglasses all the time, or if you wear wigs and stuff, you can set up an alternate appearance using different things on your face. And of course, make sure all these are enabled so you can use your Face ID to unlock the iPhone, make purchases on iTunes, use Apple Pay, and do autofills for your passwords. All right, so that's the Face ID system. Let's continue talking about some more security that's very important. So basically, I want to show you one thing. If I pull the control center down, and if I press and hold on this, this is an option that allows me to control accessories in my house. Now, obviously, it's a security feature. If somebody else has access to all this, it's kind of a violation of security. Or if somebody has access to your today's screen, it's also a violation of privacy, because you might actually have some private messages that show up here. So if your phone is locked, you want to make sure that people cannot just open it and go like that to bring down the control center or the today's screen. So right now, even if my phone is locked, somebody can tap on this and just make a modification to my actual house. Or they can go into any one of these settings and just modify stuff on my phone that I may not want. All right, so they can also access today's screen that you don't want happening. So let me go inside, show you how to hide that. Again, go to the settings, go to Face ID and passcode, dump in your passcode, scroll down all the way over here, and make sure you disable all these options. So allow access when locked. Right now, it's yes, 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 yes. So people can access Siri, control center, notifications, today's view, reply with a message. They can even reply to messages, and they have access to home control and everything, okay? So what you can do is you can disable these guys for the sake of security, and then when you lock your phone, somebody will come, they'll try to pull stuff down, and they're not going to have access to anything. Okay, and that's the way it should be if your phone is locked. Unless you're in a trustworthy location, that's a different story. Now let's talk about screen time. If you tap on the settings, you have this new option called the screen time that allows you to manage your smartphone. It actually looks at how you spend your time with your phone and gives you options to limit your usage of useless applications such as social media or just blind gaming and stuff like that. So if you just game too much, you will know, and then you'll be able to set downtimes and limits on those applications that waste your time. So with downtime, if I tap on this one, I can enable this. Let's just start the downtime for 12:49 right now. Actually, I'm going to show you what happens when you do it, and then end it at 7. Now if I go to back over here, and if I go to the app limits, I can add some limits on my applications such as games, social networking, entertainment, creativity. Just pick all of it, all right? Click add, and then let's do 1 hour per day per these applications. Go right back. And then what I can do is I can go to always allowed, and these are the apps that are going to be allowed no matter what. Things like the phone, messages, and stuff like that. I can disable those as well, okay? Except for the phone, because phone is very important. But now when I go back out, the applications that are not in the allowed list are going to be blacked out. If I tap on it, it's going to say you have reached your time limit on that application. This is especially good for actual games. So it's not important with the mail application, but with games it's going to work. So let me just disable that for now. I would just want to show you guys how to work it. And of course, I recommend you set up a screen time passcode. Tap on this one. Just pick something right now. Now when you try to go inside here, it's going to ask for a passcode. So nobody can come here and change your settings without your authorization. Alrighty? Now one more thing I want to talk about is called the restrictions. So let me go into the actual settings. Now the restrictions actually reside under screen time. It's the fourth option here. So basically if you go inside, it's going to ask for your passcode. Make sure that's enabled. And this allows you to actually, if you enable it, just like that, allows you to restrict certain applications even when your phone is unlocked and you hand it over to somebody. So I can go to iTunes and App Store purchases. I can actually disable people from installing applications unless this option is enabled. So if I say don't allow, nobody can install applications even if they have my phone, which is a good thing because someone might install things you don't want. You can also disable people from deleting applications. You can allow people not to delete anything. Now if this is allowed, and if I go back out, if I do the press and hold, the apps start to wiggle and you see an X symbol. You can delete or disable applications. But if you actually go back in here, dump in the passcode, go over here, and don't allow this, now when I go back out, if I tap and hold, the apps are going to wiggle, but it's not going to allow me to delete anything. So that's great for security of your smartphone. Let me go back in here. You can do a lot of other things like that. You can actually go to apps. You can disable all these apps. So look at that. Mail, Safari, camera, all have been disabled. When I go back out, you're not even going to see them over here. Camera is gone, mail is gone. So you can actually hide things on your phone this way. Okay, again, this is only good if you're giving your phone away to your friends, your family members, and even your kids. So this makes sure crazy things don't happen on your phone while you're not looking. Okay, so just go in here, take a look at these. You can also do content restrictions and everything. So it's a great security feature as well. Now one more thing I'm going to show you guys is how to create shortcuts using Siri. So you can actually say little things to Siri to do more. So you don't have to say full phrases. You can just say one word and Siri can use that one word as a shortcut to execute a longer command. So if I go to settings, if I go into Siri and search, and if I go to shortcuts, I can tap over here. And just to give you an example, let's say I want to record a voice memo. Okay, so I can tap on plus over here and I want to add this command to Siri, but I just want to say memo, or just record, or just voice memo. So let's say like this. Let's do it like this. Enable Siri, voice memo. Okay, now when I go to Siri and say voice memo, voice memo, it knows to launch the voice memos and start to record an actual recording, okay, as you saw. So that's how you create Siri shortcuts. The more you use your phone, you're going to see more options listed here, but you can always come here and customize and add even more. And of course, if you want to actually delete something, you go over here, you go to My Shortcuts. That's the current shortcut that I have. When I save voice memos, it starts to record a new voice memo. I can tap on Edit, and I can delete this if I don't want it. All right, so all this is customizable. So those are Siri shortcuts. Just keep using your phone, and more shortcuts are going to appear. Well, thank you for watching this video, guys. Make sure to subscribe to SAKITECH for more videos to come. And of course, give this video a thumbs up and drop comments or questions down below. And if you do use Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, follow me at SAKITECH Online. Guys, have a fantastic day.